What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the BlockHash podcast. Today, we have on another exciting guest, Cloris Chen, CEO of Singularity Finance, an EVM-compatible Layer 2 blockchain, bringing the AI economy on-chain. So we're going to discuss that in particular today. Cloris, welcome to the show. Pleasure to have you on. How you doing?
Hi, Brandon. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. This is Cloris. Forgive me that I'm not turning on my camera because I look a bit sick right now. But yeah, other than that, pretty good. Yeah, it's an exciting time for me personally, and also for the company. So a lot of things are happening. The industry is really exciting right now. Bitcoin hit 92K overnight, which is so nice. It's just like wake up and then see a 90 something number. That's really amazing. Yeah.
I know, that's crazy, right? I woke up this morning and it was at like 92,000. And I was like, oh my God, it really is almost 100,000. What a world we live in.
Oh yeah, 100,000 is not the limit. We are going higher.
Yeah, we're probably going a lot higher pretty soon, but yeah, it's been a big change just in the last week. Like, my goodness. So excited to see how the year ends. So to kick it off, Cloris, would love to learn more about you and kind of what you've done previously in the Web3 space. I'm sure everyone else listening and watching this would like to as well. So tell us a little bit about your story and how has your journey kind of led you, first to Cogito and then Singularity Finance, and what that story has kind of been like.
I come from finance background. I used to work in HSBC for 6 years, and I joined Singularity Net to lead Cogito project back in 2022. So through connection of Janet and then Ben, so they found me and thinks I can try this opportunity. And Cogito has done a few changes that we started doing algorithmic stablecoin and then did a pivot to do the RWA stuff. And then, recently we did another big movement that we will be merging with two other companies, including Singularity DAO and then Self-Key to form the Singularity Finance project and to do the tokenization of AI economy. So the whole journey has been like for me personally have been like a lot of changes. First the finance and getting into crypto, and then now be more in depth in AI and facilitating more of the AI stuff. So I think a lot of things. I actually, when I first joined crypto, I found it kind of very challenging to understand like, the technical stuff. I pursued a master's degree in CS in order to understand the industry better. And of course, like on the side, I have been very active to participate into, crypto personal investment and stuff, or trading, or DGen, however you want to call it. So that's basically my story about crypto and with the company. Yeah.
Very nice. Did you have a background in AI at all before that as well? Or is that something that's kind of come up over time in your story too?
So before joining Singularity Net, no. So I was purely in finance. I was with the bank. I get my degree in finance, economics, and also like CFA, all those kinds of financial applications, investment stuff. I think when we were building the algorithmic stablecoin, it was fine, I would say, because like it's really still a financial product, and we do have our very good team from Singularity Net to take care on the AI side. But then after I got my degree in the CS, I did focus a lot on doing the AI stuff to understand what it actually brings to us, like brings to the industry and stuff. So funny story is that when I was taking the course, there was a very interesting timing that the professor in the college was actually advising or like helping with the ChatGPT to test their OpenAI to test the ChatGPT. So we were actually able to really test, like run the large language model in our own computer to that is basically what ChatGPT was doing before ChatGPT was released. And that was like I think that was either like couple months or like almost a year before that. It was really exciting to see when ChatGPT was released and everybody was paying attention, and we were like, wow, that's how disruptive it is. So that's that. And I think as I move forward with SingularityNet over the past 2.5 years, and of course we get to know more about AI and AGI thanks to Ben Gertzel, thanks to all the team who are very specialized in this topic, in this industry, and also thanks to all the seminars or educational content they have prepared. I think it really helps a lot for both technical and non-technical people to understand AI better.
Absolutely. AI has actually exploded over the last couple of years in particular. Before jumping into Singularity, do you want to kind of explain a little bit what you guys mean when you reference the AI economy? Is it kind of in reference to what's happening out there with LLMs, or is it a bit deeper?
I would say it's much wider because when we talk about AI economy, we are basically referring to the entire, AI value chain or like different kinds of AI assets. You can think of, infrastructure stuff such as GPUs, data center, computing power, or like you can think about data or data storage, or you can think about applicate all models, as you mentioned, like large language model is only a very small subset of this class. You can think about models, you can think about applications, you can also think about, robotics and stuff. And I think on the higher end of this pyramid, you can also think about like contents, IPs, and all those kind of things. So it's a very wide range of assets that we are referring to. But actually at Singularity Finance, we will probably start with the infrastructure side, basically like data center computing power. That's more, a lot of people would call it like DePIN. Which, I mean, to some extent, it is DePIN, right? This is also related to how SingularityNet and the wider, ASI ecosystem has been investing very heavily in AI infrastructures, and then we are basically helping on that particular front as of now. Yeah.
So if you could narrow it down, what would you say is the core mission of Singularity Finance, and how do you guys go about planning to bridge those gaps between the AI economy and this decentralized world, or maybe better put Web3?
That's actually a very good question. I would say the main proposition of Singularity Finance is basically to allow average person, general public, to be able to tap into this fast-growing sector, fast-growing industry. I'll name from the data center tokenization, which will be one of the core products that we will bring out. We know SingularityNet announced a 50 million investment in the computing power, and the mandate I would assume they would be go way beyond this because of the commitment to this computing and model training and research R&D stuff. Let's say we go there, we help them to tokenize half of that, and then that will give them extra resources to scale so that they can invest in more of the computing power. And on the other side, like people like me and my family and my friends, like right now, if they want to, they see, oh, actually computing, data centers are generating so much revenue. How can I get to that business? You can. Are you gonna put $25 or $50 million to buy a data center? You won't. Also, okay, you even participate in a PE, which you can, or like some BC that you can be an LP. You likely want to because you need to have like a big ticket. But with tokenization, that we enable the fractional ownership, which means like, okay, you have a much smaller ticket, but you still think, this industry has a very good potential, then you can still come in. So this is what I kept saying, democratize access to AI assets for general public. So that's the core mission here. And on top of that, like there are a lot of building blocks. Like why do we want to build layer 2, right? A lot of people ask us that, like if you just want to tokenize GPU, why don't you just do this one thing instead? You're building layer 2, that's a lot of work. The reason for that is because like we won't be able to capture the entire market. Like we as a 30 people team, we want to bring other partners in, other builders to tap into different levels of the value chain to bring different AI assets to create more liquidity. And on top of that, we can build all the DeFi applications to aggregate the liquidity to basically become the chain for AI asset. So this is the second second proposition I would say is, okay, to create an ecosystem around all these AI assets and AI products. So that's basically the two main mandates that we are going with Singularity Finance.
And tokenization, must be a huge aspect of this for you guys as well. What would you say some of the technical and maybe even regulatory challenges that are involved in tokenizing traditional assets in this kind of way? And then also, what does that process kind of entail? It's got to be fascinating.
Yeah, that's also a very good question. I would say there are more than regulatory challenges, so I probably would touch base on a few major ones. So first, I would say when we are talking about tokenizing physical asset, right, like data center and infrastructure stuff, even like IPs, a very challenging, a pressing question is like, how do you value these assets so that you can actually have a fair value of the tokens, right? Because the token is directly associated with the value of the asset. So the very first step is we need to have like a quantitative modeling, financial modeling in order to decide the valuation of the asset. I think that somewhere like my team actually are in a very good position. So we have, quants and we have financial modeler. We have like people who have been working on similar deals before they joined crypto. So that's one. Two is like, okay, after you set all that up, how are you going to structure your token so that investors are in, or like the tokenization are in the best shape, which I refer to it as legal structure, like legal challenges, right? So basically, like, will you do it as like a special purpose vehicle, or would you do it as like a private equity fund, or how would you actually structure it, or which jurisdiction would you go? Would you go with Cayman Islands? Would you go with Switzerland? And like all of these questions, they might sound too boring to you, but they're very important decisions to make along the journey. So that's another like a big challenges in terms of making legal structure resilient, and investors can have better protection, and then easier access or entry. So that's the second one is on the legal side. Third one, I would talk about, regulatory. Regulatory also spans on a very wide range. Like even, when we do RWA stuff, right, we probably need to, we'll definitely need to, do KYC on our client. But even like that simple step is actually involves a lot of moving pieces. Like different jurisdictions have different regulations around data privacy, data sharing, etc. And not to mention like every jurisdiction have different regulations around how you can market your product, how you can brand your product, how you can sell your product. So because we're dealing with a global environment, so we have to be really, really dedicated in terms of how to structure the product and sell the product. So not to mention, the regulations around crypto and tokenization is still kind of lagging. So we are still adapting and be ready to adapt to anything that might come up. So a general rule of thumb on that one is whenever you are unsure, make the most conservative move. So that's basically what we are doing. Basically, if there's no guidance, we adopt the most conservative and method that we can think of. And I think that's basically the main challenges. And as you can tell, there are a lot of them, and I don't think the challenges sound fun.
Nope,
Right.
and there's always more too. I'm sure you're aware.
That's true. Yeah.
Can you walk through the process a little bit from the perspective of an investor? Because I think it's kind of interesting as well. For any of these tokenized offerings that are out there with Singularity Finance and what might come up in the future, is there a process in particular for going about investing, or how they do that, or what are some of those steps?
Yeah, absolutely. I can share with you, like, with the example of the data center tokenization, right? So let's say we are tokenizing a data center that I mentioned about the Singularity investment of $50 million. So first step, as I mentioned, will be the financial modeling. We will need to like take the data center and be able to, assess the value and build a financial model around it to understand the cash flow, the revenue and cost, and then be able to actually have a fair assessment of how much the token might be worth, right? That's one. That's the first step. And then we'll need to set up the legal structure, as I also mentioned that. Basically, how do we structure it as a SPV, special purpose vehicle, or want to structure as private equity fund, and which jurisdiction? We need to make sure that all the regulatory requirements are met. And then step 3 will be onboarding the investors. Onboarding the investors would require, KYC and KYB, depending on whether you are an individual or an entity, and that can be, very tricky as well. But the good thing is we have a pretty good service provider. We also have our own expertise, because we are merged from 3 companies. One of us, Self-Key, has been in this space for 7 years, and of course there are many other service providers in the space as well. They're doing amazing jobs. And then after that, we'll go issue the tokens, where each token represents, for example, a share of the underlying asset, and then that's the price of the token. And then the tokens, as the GPU starts to generate revenue from various sources, for example, they might rent out computing to AI software companies, or maybe they provide a service to platforms, or other stuff, and then generate revenue and profit, and then the revenue profit should be redistributed to the token holders, which basically will be reflected to the value of the tokens. And then a very important step will be monitoring the performance of the GPUs, because you need to know the lifespan of a particular data center, or like the GPUs. Like you need to look at the amortization of those, and to see actually everything goes right, like the business is running normal. So the monitoring is also very important. And on top of that, I would say the final step will be like creating a secondary market around all the tokenization tokens, the RWA tokens, because like if you are the user holding the token and you are receiving the underlying profit sharing of the asset, and you probably want to have, different activities. For example, you want to get in or out like early, or you probably want to collateralize it to borrow more money to trade other stuff, or probably you want to do a lot of things. So to build a secondary market like DeFi apps around these RWA tokens is the last step that we would create for the users. So basically, that's the 7 steps that are involved in doing an data center tokenization from user perspective, basically.
Very nice. I guess along with that too, like, are there any unique investment strategies, and then are there any like risk profiles that are associated with those various tokenized asset classes?
Yeah, absolutely. So after all, we are still investing in infrastructure project. The nature of that is bulky, is illiquid. So like if you're investing in US Treasury bills, right, you get in and out within a same day at least. Settlement is a different story, right? Traditional brokers might take 1 or 2 days to settle, but anyways, like the liquidity in the market is huge. Not to mention, crypto people are so used to Bitcoin. It's not naming Bitcoin. So used to Solana, where you can just settle and trade, in seconds. Like this kind of things would be very hard in traditional finance, in RWA projects, in infrastructure, because if you are holding the RWA tokens of the data center, how are you gonna sell your tokens? We can't sell partially of the data center, right? That's just impossible. So you have to rely on the secondary market because of the genuine illiquid nature of the asset. You have to rely on the secondary market. For example, some other people want to buy your tokens, or collateralize to get loan money out. So that's almost like the main source of liquidity. And of course, like projects like us, we would probably facilitate from our own balance sheet. Like, okay, we have a liquidity pool that can be users. They don't want to hold till maturity, and then they want to get out early. We probably just facilitate through providing them an LP exit. So that's like different arrangements, but it's all tweaks around the token, simply because the token itself, the underlying asset itself, is liquid. So I would say that's probably like the biggest thing that people may or may not be aware, but I think it's very worth mentioning it. Another thing is, I think on the valuation side, it's also like kind of tricky, because if you're used to trade Bitcoin, right, you don't need to know how or why Bitcoin is valued at 92K, right? People trade at 92K, and then you take it, and then you form your opinion, okay, whether it go up or go down. But with like this sort of infra projects, which has like a real economy associated with it, you actually need to do some balance sheet assessment or like financial projection in order to have a better understanding of it. Of course, if you were saying, okay, we can just have like, market finding mechanism, like I don't care how much worth, I just see how much people are willing to pay for the tokens, you can still do that. But I would recommend at least have some basis around, the valuation of the token. So that's basically the two things I want to mention, or both of which have some sort of entry barriers, or like some sort of like, challenges to every participant in this RWA tokenization. Yeah.
And the big question I wanted to get to as well is in relation to AI. How can tokenized AI actually compute? And then also, a monetized AI agent, how does that kind of revolutionize various industries as well? I find that very fascinating, and I'm just kind of curious how those two things play together.
Yeah, that's also a very good question. So first of all, we are not really directly researching anything, right? So we won't really bring in, uh, the models or anything from our side in order to disrupt the world. So what we are helping, as I mentioned, on two sides. One is on the asset owner side, either their models or their data centers or they are data. So by doing this, we are helping them to have more resources to expand. They can focus better on like what they are good at. Like Singularity is very good at doing research, right? Building models, building like all this kind of stuff. So we help them to give them resources to expand that and focus on what they're good at. Tokenization, we are, as I mentioned, like we are allowing, general public to participate in the AI sector, which just through talking, you might find it just, it's just, yeah, okay, so what that means. Think about it. Why is crypto getting to where it is today? Because it gets to the, mind share of general public. Like over 10 years ago, it's still like a small group of people participating, but now it reaches mainstream. And that's why we are seeing this sort of like phenomena, um, uh, you know, performance of this asset and also of this industry. That only happens because there are more people coming in. And AI asset, to be honest, not many people can participate as of today. I would say that. But with the tokenization, we can bring in more people bring in more people, not just in AI, but also in AI and crypto. And this basically will help both the AI sector and the crypto sector at the same time. So I think that's also like a very meaningful step. And also I think it's a very grand mission that may take some time to actually achieve. So that's basically what I think we might interrupt this industry in our own ways.
What would you say are some of your guys' key milestones, strategic initiatives, going into 2025 for Singularity Finance? Again, it's, probably very early, but I'm sure you guys have a little bit of a roadmap laid out.
Yes. So first of all, because of the merger, by end of the year, our first priority will be completing the merger and also, help the three projects to migrate smoothly to this new platform. And in 2022, in the first quarter, we are mainly focused on, release our main net, which will be the EBM layer 2. So we are actually working on that already in the background. And then after that, we'll be, onboard the data center. So basically tokenizing the data center, which is, launching the actual product. And that will be mainly be the theme around the year. But of course, we have other products that we want to roll out throughout the year, including, the existing products under Singularity DAO, and also like some services that we want to roll out to the markets as well. But in general, completion of the merger and migration, and then launch the layer 2, and then launch our tokenized data center are the three key things I would say that we are looking into 2025.
And then a higher level question, just to kind of, wrap things up a little bit, on-chain finance and tokenization RWAs, I think are, really, really fascinating. And I think will surprise a lot of people with what you can bring on chain and all the value that's actually kind of stuck off chain that isn't fully realized, within, a decentralized ecosystem or space. What do you think the future of that kind of looks like? Some people say that there's trillions of dollars out there. Some people say that it's just certain industries. Some people say you can put everything on chain. Do you think this is something like crypto that we'll just kind of go wild with and see what direction ends up going? Or do you think there's a pretty concrete future for certain aspects or certain industries maybe with RWAs?
I think I'm very confident that everything can be put on chain. Basically, I'm going down with that assessment. Would you? So you're saying whether we are still exploring to see where we are? To be honest, we have been exploring. RWA is not new at all. You know how we started with real estate, and then a lot of many different assets. Like last year we are doing a lot of TBOs because the market was there for TBOs, and now people are looking more into AI stuff. Like all of these things are evolve. The difference might be like, okay, which product exactly gains the most, market share, or like has the best product fit as of that moment. But it is always relevant, and it's always gonna be the long term trend. Like today, probably like the last couple of days may not be the best time to talk about RWA, how we are bridging the traditional world with the crypto world, because it's a long-term business that we are building here. Like it's not going to happen overnight. It's probably take years. But now we're in the bull market, right? People see things pumping 10x, 20x over 7 days, and then they start to want to have that kind of pace. But that's just not how RWAs work. So I would say, like, RWA is a long-term commitment to the crypto space. Like regardless of the crypto cycles, will be around, will be relevant, and then the final outcome will be everything can be put on chain, and that's what it actually means by bridging traditional assets to crypto. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's fascinating, right? How this industry kind of, shifts the sentiment around these things quite a bit. A couple of years ago, everyone thought the space was dead because Bitcoin was almost 15,000. And then you wake up this morning and it's 90,000 plus, and everyone's like, you can do anything and everything. It's crazy how much the sentiment rides and waves in this industry.
Yeah, that's also the beauty of the industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah.
Cloris, thank you for taking the time today. I really do appreciate it. I think you guys are doing some really cool things with Singularity. Where can people go to keep up with everything? Website, social media? Do you guys have a community? Where would you want to direct people?
Yeah, you can join our Telegram, or you can follow us on Singularity Twitter. Yeah, so you want me to give you the link?
Yeah, we'll put it in the episode description below. So feel free to shoot over the links and we'll make sure those are included for people. Cloris, thank you again. Get well, rest up, and looking forward to publishing this soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me today as well. It was really nice chatting with you.